Hey everybody, and welcome back to Techstrong Unplugged. I'm your host, Atan Solomon, and this is episode 25 of our series. In this episode, we're taking you to ViewConf 2024. At ViewConf, our co-host Cassandra Chin met up with Alexander Lichter, a versatile VEP engineering consultant, YouTuber, and open source contributor. Alex discusses the importance of problem-driven development, the value of educating others through YouTube, and the challenges of balancing multiple projects as a solo entrepreneur. Without further ado, let's head over to ViewConf 2024.
Welcome back to Techstrong Unplugged. I'm Cassandra Chin, and today we're here with Alex.
Hey, how's it going?
Very good. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. I'm Alex. I am a web engineering consultant by day. So my job is more or less to help companies that have problems, in this case with Vue and Nuxt, so the front-end frameworks and the applications that are okay. We have some problem with performance, or we want someone to review the applications. We just need some help, and then I'm there, so like, sure, we can make it happen. And besides that, I'm running my own company, so the little one-man show, so to say, but working together with lots of amazing people. And I do YouTube, I do some live streams as well, and I'm also an open source. And that's more or less about me.
So how did you actually get started into technology?
So it's really funny, like around the age of 3, I have like the vivid memory of my grandfather, who back in time was really into like computers, like big things back then. And he was like, yeah, let's sit in front of it, let's play a little bit. It was, I think back then, this kind of Mario clone, and I was hooked immediately. So that was pretty funny. And from then I always like was interested in that, like exploring more things. And I think from there, I got into like, okay, how to use the internet, like back in times where it was not like generally available, like logging in for like the phone. It was really weird with like the modems and stuff. And like my family was always, let's say, supporting that, also together with my mom or my grandpa, checking out more and more. And yeah, then I figured out, okay, the internet is like a big place. You can find so many things there. And then my cousin came out of the place and like, oh yeah, like around the age of like 10 or something, like, oh yeah, that guy needs his own email address. Because of course, at some point it would be nice to register on your own and so on. And that must have sounded like the old story from back in time. Like, it's nowadays, like, everybody has, like, a Google account and whatnot. But that's how I got started with, like, computers in general. But at some point, it was like, it's cool to use all that, but I want to see how to create something like that. I want to see how I can also do something, what I see in the internet, how I see when I open my applications. And I think the biggest point was at the age of, like, 13, where like the Minecraft hype was really big. It was like back then in Vita, and there was the multiplayer, of course. So back in time, I was then checking how exactly can I change something in Minecraft server? How can like add in something to the game, like modding the game? And there was a big a big mod called Bucket in time, written in Java, and that brought me to, okay, let's learn Java, let's do something, and that's how I started getting to.
It's interesting you got into programming using Minecraft, because that's actually the same way I got into programming.
Real? That's really cool. Lovely.
So Minecraft has really been around for a long time.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. I feel a bit old when I think back now, like 11, more than half a year ago started, but it's still there. It's played by so many people, has evolved.
And like kids are still modding and doing the kind of things you were doing.
For sure, probably a bit different. Also, not that Minecraft itself back then, they didn't give like that many official ways of doing it, so it was a lot of community driven. And well, by now I think it's more official. Also, the people back then that worked on Bucket, they got hired by Mojang to work on it full time, so it's really cool.
Actually, it's still a bit community driven.
Yeah, oh, that's great to hear. Yeah, I haven't been in the scene for a while, but every now and then I still like see some old plugins. Sometimes bring a comment like, oh, hey, when you update, and won't happen, I'm afraid. But good thing is also, like, when I started developing these things, and even became, like, part of the Bucket team for, like, reviewing other plugins. I was, like, 16, something like that. It was quite an experience. Also to, like, okay, how to do open source, how to write proper issues. Or, like, okay, I downloaded a mod, and it didn't work. So, of course, I always have that in my mind. The first time I told someone, like, okay, hey, I used that and it didn't work, it was the worst description ever, because I just like, okay, hey, it doesn't work. And now I see this as open source maintainer. I see it quite often. People do exactly the same. And I always remind myself of, okay, I did exactly the same. And back then, nobody told me, hey, this is how you can do it better. people just like, hey, this is not helpful. And they were right. It wasn't really helpful. But I learned how to do it better. And now I also like when people just say like, hey, okay, that doesn't work. I'm like, okay, here are a few steps to help us figure out how we can help you. Because just saying it doesn't work, that doesn't lead us anywhere. Because commonly, the typical, okay, it works for me. It might not work for you, but we have to figure out why.
It's interesting that you actually learned how to do open source from a game.
It's really funny. Like, yeah, starting with issues, starting like publishing code here and there. But also at some point, I then moved a little bit away from it because then I figured, okay, I want to show my work on not only on the modding side, but also on my own side. And then I started getting into web development, into a bit of PHP. And that was very interesting because Java for me was always like big and bulky and lots of code. And PHP was like, it was more or less flexible. You can just write it very easily and get to what you want with less code. It was a bit less structured, but for me it was, okay, I have to write less to achieve the same. So why not doing that?
It's all interesting stuff.
Yeah.
What kind of apps did you write?
So for web applications, I started with like my own portfolio more or less, showing like my Minecraft plugins as well. Then like some simple thing like currency converters and stuff. Also did it in Java once. I wrote some more scripts, even like with people can log in. They can say, hey, I vote for a specific plugin to be developed. Like some more complex system, all from scratch, like with just PHP, no like framework attached. So
At the time, did currency converters exist on websites at the time?
yeah, they were there for sure. That was just like a little.
So what's your like motivation to like create it?
So for this, it was basically, I was also very active in the forum, and they had like a forum currency, and then like taking this, mapping this to like, I don't know, this 300 like forum gold is worth €1. That was something that wasn't exactly like that there. So, and also was a nice exercise of, okay, like it's probably also difficult to build. Let's do it. Let's figure out how it's something to do it. And that also resembles what I did with Minecraft. Like, yeah, I wanted to reach a goal. I wanted to change certain things, and I had to figure out how. That's commonly how I learn. With like, okay, I have a project, and I want to achieve a goal. That could be to solve my own needs. That could be to solve needs of friends and family, or of the community as well. And then it starts with, okay, how to do that? What do I need to learn for that? What new skills do I need? What can I reuse? So yeah, that's commonly how it's like problem-driven, let's say, my development.
Do you want to talk a little about like more of what you're doing now?
Of course, yeah. So right now I am besides my day job of helping companies and also individuals, I am lost in open source. So there I am the maintainer of a web framework called Nuxt.js, also mentioned briefly before, and another interview guest, Daniel, is also on the team. So the idea is that's a web framework that helps people building web applications very easily. We want to make it even better, more easier for the users, fix all the problems, and think of how we can make it even better. So I think that's one of the things I pursue in terms of coding openly. Another thing that I really like is also educating people about that, because building amazing features is important, fixing bugs is important, but if you have a really cool feature but nobody knows how to use it, that's not really helpful. So of course there's like documentation, but sometimes the documentation of like, okay, here's how you use it, but you might need more context. You might need like, okay, hey, these are some cases where it's good. Here are like 3 more examples. And some people needed extra context. Some people feel like, okay, I don't need it. That's why I decided in September 2023 to start a YouTube channel around that, 1 video a week. And to help people understanding more things around Nuxt.js and Lichter.
Like, it's really interesting how you like educate people through YouTube.
It's lovely. Also, there are so many, like I started also writing blog posts. Now I don't have that much time at the moment to do that. But with videos, it gives more context, but also I know lots of people are very visual learners. So if they see how someone does it, they can code along, or you can say like, okay, I got it. I get the code. I'll have a look into that. That's, that works pretty well. And people so far are really happy.
Are your videos like live streams?
I have some live streams as well, but commonly I pre-produce them. So I commonly have like a topic I decide on, usually what people in the community are interested in or what I think could be interesting for them. Then I prepare them as in, okay, I do some research. I build a little demo application. I think what I want to tell. It shouldn't be too long. It shouldn't be too short. And then I record them, the videos. I give it to my editor, goes to post-production. and the editor will cut out, well, the O's and M's and the long parts are not that necessary and maybe my mistakes. And in the end, like probably like 10 to 20 minutes video comes out, and that will be...
Do you ever engage with like user feedback or like...
Quite a lot. So all the videos are premiering on YouTube, so we always have a live chat for that, and then like also answering questions there on demand. Also did that, actually this morning was a release because I'm based in Europe, and then we're right here in New Orleans, so the times are different, like waking up in the morning, premiering, answering some questions, and also on the comments, of course. If somebody is like writing a comment, I try to answer them. Either there's a question of like, how do I use this and this? What's this case? So I try to be very responsive there.
I think it's really cool how you engage them.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, I think this is very important to understand the needs of the people. And if I see like, okay, lots of people want a certain type of content, then that's also good for me to plan ahead. So I see what people are interested in, or maybe also what I can improve in explaining. So if people maybe didn't understand a certain part of the video, they know for next time, okay, I can put more focus on there or explain differently.
Personally, I use YouTube the most for tutorials like yours.
Great, yeah, and I think it's so good because there's so much content out there. It's free, right? I don't charge anything for that, and that's like a way to learn. I also learned back in times of YouTube tutorials, and I'm very happy to give a little bit back to the community and to help people that might also go a similar way.
You said you also owned a company.
Yes, correct. So that's also more or less me, but it's a one-man show, let's say. For doing consultancy and also then like covering all the video part, and well, you have to write invoices, expenses, and something has to pay the bills as well. So open source is really cool, but unfortunately not that many people can live from doing open source. And I think I hope in a way that will change in the future. But for me, I have time for open source because my consultancy business, so my freelance business, is paying the bills.
For your consultancy business, do you like write applications for other people?
I started with that more or less. I don't do it that often. I really try and focus helping them with my expert knowledge. If they say like, okay, hey, can you also implement that? Then I rarely say no. But also I try to focus on what I can improve there, because there are lots of really good full stack developers. But of course, if you're the maintainer of a framework, if you're like really deep into all the internals, then the knowledge is better used to help people fixing problems. So I also, on the other hand, it helps to understand the project and why people have certain issues. So maybe I can also go the other way around and say, okay, if multiple of my clients, they have problems with you or not, maybe I can make a video about it or document it or fix it maybe to make the life better. And also there are lots of people, I mean, I only see a small subset, but there may be lots of other people suffering from that or having the same issue that are the silent majority. So yeah, I hope it helps them.
I think that's really great to use your knowledge to help fix their problems. Like sometimes helping fix their problems is more valuable than just writing it for them.
For sure, yeah. And also like help them understand, okay, you have this issue, here's why. Like explain not only this is the fix, but here's how you can circumvent it, or here's the concept behind it. And yeah, that's the classic analogy with like, okay, I want to transfer knowledge on behalf. So it's not like I'm the person, as I said, fixing them. It's really like, okay, ideally they understand the next time the same issue happens, they can do it on their own and they don't have to call me. Which makes me a little bit obsolete over time, but in a way it's also good for them at least.
What is a typical workday like for you?
That's really different actually. I don't have the typical workday because I don't have like one or two like big projects. It's more like I have one or two handful of clients, and then some people say like, okay, we have meetings every week, every 2 weeks, we discuss things. Some people say, here's an issue, please solve that and tell us at least end of next week how you did it or what your findings. So sometimes I have calls with people, sometimes I don't, sometimes I work on issues, sometimes I prepare a YouTube video, sometimes we open source, and sometimes I do live stream. So it really depends.
It's a lot of balls to juggle every day.
For sure, yeah. And self-discipline and like having some kind of time management is pretty essential for that. It's still one thing I think I could get better at, just because the more things, as I said, the more balls to juggle, the harder it gets to keep it all in shape. And of course you have deadlines here and there. You don't want to you want to meet them. You don't want to postpone things again and again. And that's also a skill to acquire, but you also get there by time. You don't start with like 100 projects. You start with one, then maybe another one comes in, and then you go up step by step.
I see. I think we've had a really good chat today, so thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks for having me. And if there are any questions, as usual, let us know.